Ted, what are you doing wearing a suit and tie?
You said we're talking about style.
Ted, we're talking about fighting styles in Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, I would kind of look silly fighting in this.
Right, you're no James Bond.
So today we're going to talk about combining fighting styles with feats in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition.
Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and today I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
Hey, maybe this is your first time hanging out in Ted's basement with us. That's a place where we like to talk about news, views, and homebrews for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Sometimes we even talk about other role-playing games.
So if you don't want to miss a single video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and to tune to that notification bell.
So today we're talking about 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons fighting styles and what they are. So Ted, I think the first thing we should do is go over what that is.
All right, so whether you're a fighter, a ranger, or a paladin, you're going to get access to one of 6 fighting styles. What choices you have is going to depend upon what class or classes you've wound up selecting.
So, all right, so those fighting styles are archery, dueling.
You have protection, you have defense.
You also have great weapon fighting as well as 2-weapon fighting.
So a lot of different ways for you to wind up fighting. And when you're in combat, you can describe what those particular styles look like. But depending upon what you're doing, there are a number of feats that are going to complement those things quite well.
I can tell you one thing, though. No matter what type of weapon you decide to go with or fighting style, it's always going to come down to one thing. That's rolling dice. With that, let us tell you about our sponsor, Easy Roller Dice. Easy Roller Dice, whether it's your first set of dice or your 1 millionth set of dice. Easy Roller Dice for all your dice rolling needs. Down in the description, you can find a one-time coupon code for a whopping 20% off. Easy Roller Dice. Go check out some Easy Roller Dice.
All right, so we're not looking at making a feat tree that might have existed in earlier editions. We're looking at just giving you some helpful tips, some interesting tactics for designing your character and what feats are going to help out based on the fighting style you've chosen.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of overlap, you'll notice, and we're not even saying that if you use fighting style X, you should take all of these feats. You can mix and match them however you want, but these are just some suggestions that we think would complement those particular fighting styles.
Now, we do say, here on the channel that, taking the stat bump is usually going to be the better mechanical choice, but feats offer a lot of awesome options that you might not have had. Or if you've already maxed out your prime stat and you're looking for some feats, these are the ones that we say are the go-to.
So first up, we have archery. For archery, Sharpshooter Skulker.
These are great options. If you happen to be using a crossbow as opposed to a longbow, you definitely want to take Crossbow Expert. And let's not forget Marshal Adept.
And then finally, there's Lucky. Now let's break these down a little bit. Sharpshooter, that is going to let you fire at longer ranges, ignore cover to a certain degree, and give you the ability to get a bonus to damage.
So Skulker, if you're hiding and you shoot and miss, it's not going to automatically reveal your position. So really useful for firing from cover.
And if you're a sniper type archer, for sure. Then we have Crossbow Expert. Crossbow Expert gives you a bunch of benefits, especially if you happen to be using a crossbow. With a hand crossbow, you can use your bonus action to basically get another attack. You can also remove the load property, super useful if you're using a crossbow. But finally, this last ability actually helps you no matter what kind of archer you are. When you're using a ranged weapon, if you're in melee, you get disadvantage to fire. This removes that disadvantage.
So if somebody is right there in front of you and you pull out your longbow, you can shoot at them. I don't know why, it's that whole disadvantage thing. Maybe because somebody's swinging a sword in your direction, but take Crossbow Expert, you don't have to worry about that. Marshal Adept, this is a great feat for, just about any fighting style, but to be able to have some options for the ability to do extra damage, cause things to get disarmed, pinned, what have you. It's a great feat to get those extra, maneuver points.
Pretty much, I decided this one should be on the list just so you can do trick shots. So you only get one superiority dice every rest, but every rest you can definitely guarantee a trick shot if you want it.
And last but not least, Lucky. I don't think this one really requires anything extra. But if you're an archer, you're going to be making lots of attacks, and to get free rerolls, it's a piece of cake.
Well, I would go a step further and say if you did not take that crossbow expert feat and you're getting disadvantaged because you're firing into people's faces, you can get super advantage by using Lucky. You're going to roll 3 dice and choose the best of the 3. That's why Lucky's on the list.
All right, that works for me. So what's our next fighting style?
Next up, we have defensive.
So defensive is all about armor class. So this one, we're going to really be looking at taking additional, armor type things, whether you're looking at heavy armor master, medium armor master.
Or you could even look at the defensive duelist.
Heavy Armor Master is going to give you some extra resistance to damage when you're wearing the heavy armor. Useful for no matter what type of fighter you are, because you just never have enough hit points, if you ask me.
Yeah, having your damage reduced by 3 by anytime you get hit by a non-magical attack, awesome. Then we have Medium Armor Master. Love this one. It's going to add a bonus of +1 to your armor class from your dex bonus. Usually you max out at 2, so now you max out at 3. It is also going to negate that disadvantage on stealth checks when you're wearing medium armor that would do such.
Super helpful. And last but not least is Defensive Duelist.
Defensive Duelist. If you need something to do with your reaction, you can blow it on Defensive Duelist. If an attack would have hit you, use your reaction to then give them a negative based off of your proficiency modifier. So you're looking at a 2 to a 6, you can basically add to your armor class.
That's pretty handy for just sacrificing your reaction.
Absolutely. So next we're going to move on to great weapon fighting.
All right, now this is a great one and a popular one amongst many people playing out there.
So great weapon fighting. When you use this, when you make an attack and you hit, you can re-roll those damage rolls, those damage dice, and anytime you roll a 1 or 2.
For an attack, a single die, when it's a 1 or a 2, as long as the weapon is being wielded in 2 hands and is either a 2-handed weapon or a versatile.
That's correct. So we picked quite a few feats for this one. This one actually has 6.
All right, well, first off, obviously, Great Weapon Master. It's going to fit right with Great Weapon Fighting.
Obviously, basically allows you to make another attack with your bonus action if you kill an opponent or you crit.
Charger is going to work really well with Great Weapon Master. Great Weapon Masters, you can take a -5 to hit to do an extra +10 to damage. So that's pretty nice. Charger, if you move at least 10 feet in a direct line towards an adversary, you've got to be able to do an additional 5. So combining the two together allows you to take a -5 to hit, move 10 feet, and get 15 extra points to damage.
Yeah, anytime that you're not going to be able to get there anyway without dashing, this is a great option. So next up, I would want to mention Savage Attacker.
This is a great one. It allows you to roll 2 separate pools of damage dice and choose the better of the 2. So your damage medium, your average, is going to wind up going up when you take this feat.
Now, this is an ability you can only use once a turn, but still it's going to come in handy.
Absolutely. We've already mentioned how useful Marshal Adept is at those trick shots, those trick maneuvers, and it's a no-brainer here. You're trying to do extra damage. That's what great weapon fighting is all about, and stacking on that superiority die to your attack, super helpful.
But not only that, it's super thematic. When you choose your maneuvers, you choose ones that kind of go with the fighting style that you're using to really epitomize what it means to use that kind of a weapon.
Absolutely. Sentinel is another great one. So Sentinel, when they're trying to get away from you, you can wind up using your reaction to make an attack and stop them, and now they can't get away.
Not only that, with Sentinel, if they attack one of your buddies within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to attack them as well. Also with Sentinel, though, it does stop them from being able to disengage. They still will draw an attack of opportunity. Now, Sentinel pairs really nice with great weapon fighting style because Polearm Master essentially says you're using a great weapon anyway, and Polearm Master is a great feat. That's the one where if they come within your reach, you get an attack of opportunity. So 10 foot stops them right there. Sentinel kicks in. It's great. You can use the butt of the weapon to make a bonus attack with as well. Doesn't do as much damage, but still it's another attack, another way to use your bonus action. Pairs nicely with Sentinel and great weapon fighting style.
All right, so that's a whopping 6 feats for great weapon fighting. Next, we're going to look at dueling.
Yes. So if you're the classic dueler, with your one hand in the air and your rapier, but you don't actually have to do it. The only real requirement is that you don't have any weapon in your offhand, and you're just using the one. And what it's going to do is give you a +2 to damage. Super sweet.
Super helpful to get that extra points of damage. And we have 4 feats that we think pair nicely with dueling.
So defensive duelist and martial adept, again, we've talked about these two. We've talked about how great they are. They'll work perfectly for this fighting style.
So we mentioned that this is going to be using a shield, so why not add in Shield Master to the mix? So Shield Master is really great. You can use your bonus action to make a shove attack with your shield. Really helpful. You get to add your shield's bonus to your dexterity saves when you're making saves there. And if you're making a dex save to take half damage, you can use your reaction if you pass to get no damage instead, as you basically kind of duck behind your shield and kind of move out of the harm's way.
No damage is definitely better than half damage.
I will gladly throw my reaction out the window to take no damage on those saves, because sometimes those things suck.
And then obviously we've talked about Sentinel, so that's going to work. That kind of works for any style that's really aggressive or defensive.
So next we're going to go up with protection, and we have a couple options.
Okay, so protection, we're going to have 2 feat options, one of them being Shield Master and the other one being mobile.
Now, protection fighting style allows you to use your reaction when an ally within 5 feet gets an attack for you to basically put your shield out there and give the opponent disadvantage on the attack roll.
Yeah, super sweet ability. Now, the reason why we went with Shield Master and Mobile, Shield Master is kind of obvious. We're already using a shield. We talked about how awesome that is. But Mobile actually lets you move around the battlefield. It allows you to avoid attacks of opportunity by, attacking someone that's in your face. It also, when you dash, it lets you ignore difficult terrain. And if your primary fighting style is based off of being able to be next to your allies, it's going to be helpful if you can get there.
So you make an attack on the person that you're fighting, and then you basically get a free disengage that you can then go and get back next to your ally.
So finally, that brings us to our last fighting style, and that is 2-weapon fighting.
So we have 4 options for this one, some of which we've already gone into, but you can't mention 2-weapon fighting without going into dual wielder.
2-weapon fighting, what's great about 2-weapon fighting, anytime you fight with 2 weapons, you're offhand, you don't get your bonus to damage from a stat. But 2-weapon fighting gives you that ability. So with that, let's go into the 4 choices that we have.
All right, so you can't go into 2-weapon fighting without mentioning dual wielder, because there's only so many classes that give you the option to get the 2-weapon fighting style, but everybody can take dual wielder. They kind of pair nicely together.
The reasons why they pair nicely together is dual weapon wielder allows you to draw 2 weapons as one action, part of using your interact with an action. Otherwise, you'd have to draw one or draw the other or have them both out, which can be annoying. The other thing it does, it lets you use 2 weapons that aren't light weapons. So you could fight with 2 battle axes, 2 long swords, a battle axe and a long sword. You can mix and match however you like. And finally, it's going to give you a +1 armor bonus as well.
So normally, if you've got that shield, that blocks a whole lot more, but fighting with 2 weapons, you've got the ability to get off more attacks and a +1 to your armor class. Totally sweet.
Okay, and now also, we've got some other options, and we've talked about all of these already. Defensive Duelist, if you want to get a better armor class with your reaction, you can use it here. Marshal Adept, to kind of fill out a feel for your fighting style, is going to work really well, as well as Sentinel.
Sentinel, it goes nicely with what's there. And if you are that much more aggressive, that much more engaged in battle, by having 2 weapons, you really have a greater threat area. Even though mechanically you don't, it's just the perception should be there that you should be able to just, lock people down by, forcing them to not be able to leave.
So those are our choices for pairing 5e D&D feats with the 5e D&D fighting styles. The question is, How would you do it? Would you do it differently? Did we get anything wrong? We got a place where we can talk about and discuss that, and that is down in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
While you're on your way down there, don't forget to stop by the description and check out our sponsor, Easy Roller Dice. And don't forget to use that one-time promo code.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.